welcome back. My name is Muligan and this is Xenonauts 2 Kickstarter again. So this is a couple days, or from a couple days ago, the 5th of July, the base mechanics poll result and beta version 6 released. So last time I made a quick video for the poll, which had 3 options. Classic multiple base system Xenonauts 1, which had close to 51%. New single base system, close to 10%, and let the developer decide 40%, where the is the outcome, with close to 2k responses. So they did say that they are now going to start working on that, trying to implement the system they had lined out last time, which we went over a little bit, but there's a link here again if you want to read that. And additionally, they have released build 6 of the closed beta. They did change that future updates are now on the experimental branch. So if you are on Steam, you can go right click, properties, beta, and then you have the drop down menu, and there you can select the experimental branch, then you get all the new updates. But they just want to have the ability to not need to patch every little thing right then and there, but being able to work on whatever they're working on, finish that, then go back to patch, and don't have the need to always patch all the bugs so that people can try out the build right then and there. They did bring in a lot of updates in the version 6, updates to the air combat, AM psionics, strategy, upkeep cost, a lot of stuff, which naturally they lined out in the forum. So we have, again, they are talking about the experimental branch. So if you have a problem, you can always switch back to version 5 with just opting out of the branch, and then you can try the game or see if you find bugs there, which is possible. Now we have the new key features for version 6. Air combat update, more down below. AM psionics, more down below. Social assignment system. That was one thing that I did encounter. Before the last patch, you could have people on those geoscape missions and then still have them be in a mission. You could just select them and be in a mission. That is not possible anymore. They changed that system. It was a bug, I guess. We now have strategy, upkeep, and funding screen. This is always one of the things I never understood, to be honest, because normally you are there to defend the world against aliens, but you still have to pay. You still have to pay for your normal base. I mean, okay, if it's undercover, sure, maybe. But even then, I would suspect that the countries would foot the bill, in my opinion. But I mean, it is a concept for the game, and it does add an element for managing your funds, which is interesting gameplay. But you do have the upkeep every month, I believe, and you can always see the funding screen. You can always pop up and see what the expected upkeep costs are and the breakdown. The crash site airstrike is back. So in Xenonauts 1 you had a crash UFO, you didn't want to go there and do the mission because you had to do another mission. You could airstrike that, get some money. It is back in Xenonauts 2. You can airstrike again. Even if you do not get to the mission and it expires, you automatically get the airstrike bonus, which I find good. So you don't have to micromanage and try to maybe make it to the mission, but if you don't make it to the mission and it despawns, you get nothing really. So now you at least get the money. New artwork and new alien variants or more, so that you don't only have soldiers to fight, but like in Xenonauts 1, mechanics, medics. What did we have? Psionics? Psions were a class, more or less. I do not really remember, but you could probably add some more, like a researcher, if you really wanted. And elite aliens with better equipment in the later game. Never got to that. The game, I mean, I still have sometimes problems with crashes. But the one time the game did work, the first mission was fine. I lost one soldier, not a problem. But then you had like the terror mission or whatever that is, where I just lost half my squad because the game is not that easy in my opinion. Because aliens can shoot a lot, they are really precise shooting at you, and they can do a lot of stuff. And additionally, your aircraft is not really, it doesn't give you any protection. You are just in the open. In the Chinook in Xenonauts 1, you at least had left and right some cover. You didn't have at the back, but even at the front you had some cover. So that is all gone. You left and right is open, front and back are at least a little bit covered, but not that much. They can still shoot you. Now the air combat, what they changed, it is more like an auto-resolve, which is not really what it sounds like. You can still auto-resolve, but you can go and engage in combat, and you just, the fighter more or less moves themselves. So you just say, okay, go attack, and they go into the range where they can shoot, and then they shoot. You can still manually pause and then say what your fighter should do, but normally you can just leave it running, at least at the beginning, and it makes good enough decision. I mean, there are not that many decisions to make. They changed the weapons now to % hit chances and % evade chances. So yeah, it is a lot more dynamic. At least from what I have seen, that you have evasions, you have shots fired. The only problem is that the UFO seems to be able to shoot at every interceptor, which is not really what I think it should do. But okay, at least in what I encountered at this point, which is not a lot. Yeah, weapons now have evade modifier, and torpedoes double that evade modifier. So UFO fighters could have a 50% base evade, and then double that for torpedoes makes it 100, which means you can't hit fighter with torpedoes. Fair enough, I guess. Now the AM psionics. This is more or less from Xenonauts 1, the psion attacks, but a little bit changed. So every turn, every AM psionics that has this mind war ability, they will use it every turn on a random Xenonauts, but only every Xenonaut can only be hit once, and naturally they don't need light of sight, which is normal for this OP ability. Now, all Xenonauts that got attacked with the Mind War are flagged at the start of the player's turn, so it's not you get tickled or whatever you want to call it, and you just flip out. No, your turn has to first resolve. So they get flagged, you do your turn, at the end of your turn, the Mind War tickle is resolved, which leads if your bravery against their psionic strength, plus a couple random points for both abilities. If they beat you, you are panicked, drop your weapon and flee. If they beat you by 30 or more, then you are mind controlled. Okay, fine. I would like the ability if you have a critical success at defending, that you get a little bit of a boon too. I don't know, maybe +5 bravery or maybe +2 bravery. Something for the Xenonaut too. So they are really good at defending. They have maybe a little epiphany, hey, and they are not as easily controlled later on in the game. Would be nice. But another thing is, if you don't move, the amount of time units in percentage that you have left over at the end of your turn gets added to your bravery. So if you don't move at all, you have 100% of your time units, so your bravery gets 100% bravery buff on top. So if you moved half your time units, you have a 50% bravery, 50% remaining time units. So your bravery has a multiplier of 150% to go to that defense. So then the normal bravery amount, which is let's say 50, plus a 50% bonus, which means 25 of that 50 bravery gets put on top, 75 to be beat by the alien psionic, which is interesting because that means you have now a more direct control on the fight against the psionic stuff, which is nice. The only problem will be if you have a whole map where you have all Xenonauts, these are your whole squad getting ticket every turn, and you decide to just not move, because that way you are definitely not getting mind controlled, I hope at least. And it could end in a stalemate if the alien soldier does not move out, but we will see how that works. I do like at least the ability to do something against the Mind War ability. It was Mind War, right? Mind War, yeah. What did they change? Monthly upkeep, sure, new art, races, research projects. They changed the game saving while it is doing some tasks that could break saves. So corrupted saves should be less. They should be less now, I hope. Unless there's another problem, naturally. So the airstrike, but you see if the crash site times out, without completing, you are automatically gaining the cash. Right, clicking near multiple interactive objects will now give you the drop-down menu from Xenonauts 1, which is good. So if you have your 2 interceptor squads on an UFO and you want to attack with squad 1 first and then squad 2 for some reason, you now have the ability to easier to select whoever you want to select. I mean, you could probably zoom in and that would be good too, but this way is a lot easier. Landed UFOs now function correctly. I don't know what the problem was before, but there's no difference at the moment between crash and landed because aliens don't die in a crash UFO at this point. They will change that. Another change is that Elenium is now only in the reactor of alien UFOs, so you shouldn't blow that up. Always important. Aim bases now start undetected and can be detected passively or fly an interceptor above that. They changed the relation score to the relation they changed to a score instead of a health bar, which was before, which took a lot of space for such simple information. They improved the performance for UFOs flying around, multiple in this point. I did have the problem before, if you launch an interceptor and you fast forward the game and put it on high speed, so the interceptor would not be able to catch the UFO. It would just fly through the UFO, not really engage. But now that is fixed, you can just go on high speed and you get the message, hey, I found the UFO, do you want to engage, auto-resolve, or disengage? So that is fixed, that is pretty good. Do we have anything special? The starting stats are now 35 to 65 instead of 45 to 55. I want to be able to have better soldiers in the middle to the end of the game. So long as the game goes, I want to have better soldiers. Maybe introduce the building. I believe a training center is in the game, but maybe a research, which enables you to pre-train soldiers, so they start with a better lower tier stat, maybe even with 1 or 2 rank ups, so you don't have to start with rookies in 2/3 into the game, which will not end well at all. Social medals are now visible, but it is all a placeholder. Dropship equipment screen has changed a little bit, all to not have you be able to swap, get people to go into missions where they don't belong. And it is now able to support additional types of dropships, which is something I do like to see later on. Having different dropships, so you can have maybe one that has more space, maybe one that has less space but has a lot of armor, or maybe weapons. Maybe the dropship itself has a defensive perimeter which it defends with like miniguns, but you can have only like 2/3 or so soldiers. Would be a nice addition. The UFO crash sites are now always 50-50. So before it was that later UFOs, bigger UFOs would have a bigger map, but missions take a very long time for big UFOs, so they shrunk the maps. And that was mostly all the stuff I wanted to highlight. A couple more little changes, but that was the beta version 6. So pretty nice. I will try to get a little bit later into the game in the coming days, but I'm always conflicted because I do want to wait for the game to come out so I can make videos for it instead of just playing and not being able to record that. But we will see. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.